Hey everybody, welcome to Between the Sheets. Happy COVID Friday again. I'm Gaye Ann Bruno, host and producer of the show. Thank you for joining us. We're here the first and third Friday of every month here on the United Broadcasting Network. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram, QTE Brat, and please follow the Between the Sheets podcast Facebook page. We have a wonderful guest tonight. It's something, she's been doing this for years. I think in the time of COVID, what we're actually practicing now and what we're doing about a healthy, clean lifestyle, she has been doing this her entire life. She's Canadian, which is a plus because we love those Canadians. They're always very polite. But without further ado, let me think before I say, you can call in 323-524-2599. We always love to hear your voices. Pull a chair, join us in the room. We adore you. But thank you, Nadine. Her name is Nadine Artemis from Living Libations. If you guys go to livinglibations.com/pages between the sheets and use the coupon code sheets, and I'll put it on my Facebook page, they are having a 15% sale of all the products. But if you mention sheets, you will get an extra 15% off, and that is 30% off on the products. I actually have the products. I'm going to run later and get them because I've been running like a crazy person today. But without further ado, I want to just welcome back some of our co-hosts who haven't been with us for a while, and then there's always Cara and Mara. So I just want to welcome Cara. Cara, welcome again. I love you. I miss you. I miss all of you being in studio.
I know.
And if anyone has been following Cara's journey on the Taj Mahal mosaic, she is almost complete, and it's absolutely stunning behind her.
Yeah, I got to finish it for a wedding in 2 weeks' time. It's taking place here.
Wow. You'll do it. We know you will.
40 people socially distanced. So I'm sitting outside. Now, I'm sure that Nadine won't like these products. Certainly not this one. There's a lot of mosquitoes around. I'd like to talk about that as well.
Yes, we will. And then we have, let's go with Mara. Mara Shane, who's always looking like she's like the Between the Sheets Barbie. Always perfectly coiffed and beautiful as always.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I miss being in studio as well.
So tell us just a quick thing about that. You launched a new Instagram page, didn't you?
Yes, I started a page for my arts. It's called Mara Shane Art. I have a website called marashaneart.com. So I'm working on that. I mean, right now, I think I have like 75 followers. So
it's okay. Well, I'll help you. Don't you worry.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, everyone has to start somewhere. So
absolutely. Look, when I started Between the Sheets, I was like so disappointed because there weren't that many followers, and now we have a lot. So it's all about setting the groundwork and just being patient. And Cheryl, and our next is in-house psychic medium extraordinaire. Told me my color's red. I'm wearing it. My boobs look completely huge today in this thing. But Cheryl Murphy is back. Cheryl, what have you been up to? I've been seeing you all over Facebook.
Thank you. It's great to be back. Great to see all of you ladies again. I've just been doing so much online events, online readings, trying to stay connected to people, right? We got to stay in touch with each other, you guys.
And we try, and we do, and we are, isn't it about energy and It's about energy and frequency, and it doesn't matter if we're in the same room or not. It's just you send that out to others, and you will get it back in return. Am I correct, Cheryl?
You're absolutely 100% correct.
You've taught me well. And then, of course, we haven't seen this beautiful face in a while, Delisha. And I said it right. Can you believe me? It took me like a year and a half to get your name right. But so what have you been up to?
I got the most expensive free yurt that anyone's ever given me. So it's been an adventure, and I'm still trying to get it up. I've got a couple of guys coming tomorrow, but I had to do some grading, and now the building materials themselves, just to build the base, $2,300. It's crazy expensive, but I got the yurt for free.
Hey, whatever.
Sorry, what is a yurt, please?
What is a yurt?
Yeah.
Hey, Kurt, can you pull up a yurt?
It's like a giant tent. It's basically what the Inuits used to live in, and they still do, actually. But they have a variety of different ones. This one is extra tall, so it stands about 10 feet tall.
Like
and
It's a
it's
teepee.
24 feet in diameter. So it'll fit a lot of people for my birthday party. Whoever wants to still come.
Yeah.
Give us the invitation. We will.
Yeah.
My son takes it yet to Burning Man on the top of the truck.
Everybody, I just want to show you. I'm doing Amara.
Doing a Mara.
Okay.
I am Amara.
Camera.
You do. I've seen you do that. Just before we get to Nadine, I just want to just give another update. Lily, as you all know, I brought her in, my cat, to the ER today. She's going to be there a few days. Her white blood cell count is really high, so there's obviously an infection, which are causing issues with the kidneys. So, but she's stable, and she's there, and she's got really good care, better care than I could give her. And I'm just a little at peace. So for those of you that have written me, called me, emailed me with your prayers, your love, your good intentions, I appreciate you. I will keep you updated, not on the show, obviously, but on Facebook. But thank you so much. I am completely humbled by you following us here Between the Sheets, and in gratitude for all of you. So thank you so much. And my big purchase for the week or a couple of weeks ago is I bought an e-bike. So that's kind of fun. That's Thrive by Giant Live. So buy that e-bike. You really aren't biking. You don't even break up a sweat. But without further ado, because I know Nadine's calling from Canada and it's late, I want to get her on. It's livinglibations.com. And these are the notes I took when I was talking to Angela. So and this, it's a brick and mortar, you're sold, you have brick and mortar in Venice and then Nordstrom's, correct your product line. There's about over 700 products, if I'm not mistaken. All your products have no chemicals. You're one of the first people to create clean beauty brands. Celebrities like Renee Zellweger and Mandy Moore swear by your products. It's all for all skin types. What's really funny is I was fortunate that she sent me a sampling of it, and I was told it was face products, teeth products. And in there is, lube, love butter, and yoni juice. So I was quite taken aback, and I have not used it yet, but I plan on it. The other stuff I have used, and I must attest, it is amazing. I wouldn't come on here if I didn't believe in it or I didn't try it, but I absolutely did. And it is well worth, all your hard work and testing and all that, what you do in your mother's kitchen back when you were a kid. Being inspired by Lisa Bonet has paid off. I love the clay toothpaste. It's just amazing. You live in Canada. You lost everything, 5 years ago in a fire?
7, yeah.
7 years ago.
Yeah.
Rebuilt it. She's a woman. She lives in the woods in Canada. So one of the first women-led companies. She has family hours for employees. She's got an organic cafe, meditation decks. Her product line is a lifestyle, Renegade Beauty, recipes. Oh, that's another thing. She wrote 2 books. One of them is like recipes on all the products that she has. Another one is on teeth hygiene or tooth hygiene. Is that correct, Nadine?
Yeah, one's called Holistic Dental Care, and the other one's Renegade Beauty.
And we'll explain why holistic dental care is important for the entire body. It's sort of when I think about her product line, it's a sort of a balance of the body, mind, soul, and spirit. It's integrated. And oh God, your mother was an architect. It is just so much. You're a hippie chick, an entrepreneur. You've got a kids line. You've got a men's line. Jesus, let's just get to talking about her. She's an Aquarius, January 29th. And there we go. So let's start with, and she's a big follower, as I am, of Krishnamurti and Rumi. So that's pretty much the plug. And now we get to the bottom line deal. So seriously, Lisa, how old were you when you inspired to do this? What inspired you truly to do this?
Yeah, well, I just wanted a couple of things. My mom was an award-winning interior designer. And I think we actually have more like about 300 products, but we have different sizes. I just feel like I had to say that. Well, I really was engaged with nature as a kid and always raiding my mother's bathroom and mixing things together, whether it be the skull and crossbones under the sink or the Joy perfume that was really quite exquisite. Woo! And that just led to further inclinations. I thought there was green beauty going on when I was a teen with the Body Shop and stuff. And I also got an opportunity to do a science fair project where you get to pick your own subject, and I decided to do it on perfume. And through that experience, I was able to really actually connect all those little bottles that I had and understand their history a bit further, and that perfumes were actually used to be made from plants and real extractions. And the book that I was reading at the time suggested to go to a health food store and find essential oils, because that's what they were working with to make perfumes back in like ancient Egypt and stuff. So that was my first foray into kind of, essential oils and making something. And I didn't quite understand the difference between natural and synthetics at that time, even though that was sort of my first entry into that. And then the Lisa Bonet inspiration part comes. So I get to university, and I'm skipping it a bit because it's a bit boring in some parts. It wasn't until I got into my women's studies classes that I was that thrilled, but I was like skipping, I don't know, Russian history or something that day. And I saw Lisa Bonet on the Phil Donahue show. So it was a while ago. And she was just talking about, eating and food, and that food was connected to health and the environment. And that was really new back then. And so just kind of putting those threads together as I was on my own and at university, and in those moments, you're making your own food and living more independently. So it was really all in that moment. It was all in just like a month, seeing that show with Lisa. From that moment, I got the book that she was talking about. And from that moment forward, I just, didn't eat processed food again. I ate organic food. And I really started to understand like things about health. Like there just happened to be a little health food store on my way home from university. And it was inside a little house. It was like retrofitted. It was called Grains and Beans and Things. And I bought like every book, and I really started to understand and read about ways to solve headaches or stomach aches and all those things that are sort of common ailments, how to just solve it differently, or what was making it occur in the first place. And that was a real, like, opened up so much for me, because just being a kid and maybe having a stomach ache or something, or going to the doctors and like just feeling the futility of it all. And you're just like looking at these adults and you're like, you don't know, and you really have no suggestion. So having that real experience that doesn't really work, nothing major happened, but I'm just like, yeah, you don't know how to solve that. And then just going into this world. And then at the same time, so I started making things because I started understanding like what was in the food. And then it was like, oh, what's in my cream? What's in that Body Shop stuff? Like, oh, it's the same petroleum promised land, just dressed up with like lavender labels, or it says like fuzzy peach bath oil, and it's never been impeached. It's never seen a peach,
Yeah. Yeah. Like if you go to, what's the one, Bath and Body Works, or, the ones with all the smelly fragrances everywhere, they can smell quite strong and chemically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's, again, that's not real. And so I was starting to make my own food on my, like totally went in sourdough, oat milk. Like I was back in, I was like, oh, rice milk, like learning to make nut milks. Like nobody was doing this. And then I was making my own stuff, perfumes, lip balms. I was like using film canisters to put lip balms in. I was recycling bottles. And it was like making products for my friends that were waitressing. And it was really popular, effective, simple. And it gained traction, again, just with sort of friends and family. But I was also needing to get a whole range of ingredients that I just couldn't find. And so I had to, I wrote different consulates and found distillers, and then brought in samples that were like otherworldly, even if they were just something that I'd normally had smelled, like something simple like bergamot or tea tree or grapefruit. And there was just other distillations. So it was like wine. And I was like, oh, there's a whole finer thing going on. And then also to find ones that I was reading about but couldn't find, or read about in ancient books, like ancient recipes, or like what the Egyptians were using. So I had to really sort of scour the earth to find all these bits and pieces together. So I started importing organic essential oils while I was at university, because I had to. And then 6 months after graduating, I opened up North America's first full concept aromatherapy store. And that was super fun. I would make custom blends, perfumes for people. We had the scent bar, And we had just a lot of fun clients that would come in. That's where I met Alanis, for example.
Alanis Morissette.
Yeah.
We had tickets. A whole bunch of us had tickets to her concert.
Such a bummer.
Oh.
So, but she reschedules next year, but we love her.
Yes, she's awesome. And that was so fun because she was just like, she'd heard about the store. And then her friend was like, because she's Canadian, so she has some Canadian friends. And she's like, oh my God, we know her. So we met her after a concert, like, you know, some concert she did. And it was funny because I would mop the store floor, you know, after the day. And I was mopping to her music every day back then. And it's like full Jagged Little Pill moment.
That was
and then
one album.
Yeah. And then she came and it was so fun. She's like a kid in the candy store. And just, she so got like, she gets the smells and yeah, she still has.
Have you ever read the book Jitterbug Perfume?
Oh yeah.
Your story reminds me very much of it.
Well, you know, when our house burned down, my friend
sitting here just smiling inside.
Our house burned down. She sent me this quote from Jitterbug Perfume that was just phenomenal. It was like, you know, something about them looking back and, you know, all their treasures were gone. And I don't know, I can't remember now. It was really profound.
So
your story reminds me a lot of that story.
I mean, yeah. I know we're talking about your perfumes and your delicious libations, but I don't know, and it goes off the subject a little bit, but to lose everything.
Oh yeah.
How, I know that that's a terrible thing, but what was the good things that came out of that?
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, the good thing is just seeing like how you got to turn it around. You got to find the positive. Like, I mean, that's how I feel anyway. You got to keep moving your way out of it and finding the better feeling thoughts to get through it. Yeah, I mean, again, we had little cabins, so I had the pajamas on my back that day, and we had, you know what I mean? So there was that, but really the heart and soul was the main house where our business was attached. So it was everything. And my mother had died 6 months earlier.
Oh my.
And all her treasures, and they were treasures. Like my great-grandfather was an artist. He went to Egypt, so I had his paintings. My grandmother was an artist. So I had like some antiques and paintings from the 18th century. It was crazy. It was, and then we lost everything, like, and we make everything. So it was like everything, you know, and then liters of sandalwood and frankincense just like offered up to the heavens. So it was, it was a lot to go through. It was a really,
but it can be very freeing, isn't that right? Because I think it was, you might remember this, Gaye Ann, but wasn't it Alison Moyet, the singer? Didn't she give everything away and start afresh?
Yes, she did.
I didn't get that feeling of the freedom of it. I definitely walked through it. I felt like it was initiation.
Yeah.
I actually started feeling really good when I started replenishing, you know what I mean? When I was like, oh, now I have a passport, clothing, shoes, you know, that I could feel like I can walk out, and just getting all our business material back. So we didn't have one business material, and even, you know, our whole hard drive, like everything.
Like it was like a cleansing or a purification. You literally walk through fire, you know?
Yeah.
Metaphorically speaking.
I mean, seriously. I mean, I like sometimes, do any of you think this? I mean, my life is good and I'm in gratitude, but wouldn't it be fun sometimes just to sort of like change your name, move somewhere else, and just start over without the baggage, the trauma, the bullshit, the exes, all that shit? I mean, like that to me would be so freeing.
You know, I did that when I was 23. I went to Switzerland and I did that. But I think at 23, it was way more difficult than if I was to do it now. Honestly, at 49, I think it would be a completely different experience. Besides the fact that there was no cell phones back there. So it was much easier to meet people.
But it would be so cool. It would just be so cool. I mean, because it's kind of like a purging, a cleansing, you know, because I think in life, I know that, you know, everything that we pass in life is part of the journey. You know what I mean? It is important that we pass it. I think some of it is all predestined for us to move forward on our journey. And that's great. But sometimes it's sort of like, I want to go, okay, done my journey here. I want to start a new journey with a whole bunch of different people. And maybe my name will be Alexis. I don't know. Just saying.
I'm going to be Natasha.
Princess Consuelo Banana Hammock.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, it would be great, but you can always reinvent yourself. You know, that's what life's all about, is reinventing yourself. But it still is a fantasy to, you know, that is fun to think about, to change your name, sometimes I wish I had a different face and I had a different
No,
look.
your face is fine. I'm
like, don't change your face, girl.
Don't change your face.
Looking in the mirror, you know, and they are their own face.
Mara, you failed tonight on self-love. I'm just telling you, tonight, epic fail. Okay. But so when you started the products, Nadine, you know, like I said, when I was talking to Angela, you know, it really is integrative. So why don't you tell us sort of like, because I know you are a spiritual being, like, let's talk about the toothpaste and let's talk about your book about the holistic dental care. Why is dental care so important?
It really is important. I mean, it's kind of this thing, we may be really bored of brushing our teeth, but it's so important. Functional medicine really, you know, a lot of doctors, it's hard, you know, I guess not all doctors, but there's a big body of belief in medicine that 80% of all disease is really the root cause is in the mouth. And what most of us have going on is really kind of work that we have to repair because of the blind spots in dentistry for the past like 60 years that we've kind of, you know, gone down some weird roads with. And so decades later that can catch up with us. So whether it's just the, you know, the surface stuff of the saliva, the gums, you know, a lot of people have sensitive teeth, bleeding gums. These are all, you know, we can kind of like ignore it, but those are really good early warning signs before things are getting worse. So, you know, there's also a whole oral microbiome. Maybe a lot of people are getting familiar now with the gut microbiome. Well, there's a whole one in your mouth. And most of the modern medicines and practices that are in dental care and dentistry are actually mutating the mouth's microbes and kind of mutating the mouth's immune system. Oh. For example, just mouthwash, you know, just the classic stuff at the drugstore. The type of alcohol in there creates over 36,000 cases of oral cancer a year.
That's so crazy. And you know
what? One thing.
I was going to say, I use the only organic toothpaste that I know of that feels more organic is Tom's, you know, but I'm sure that that's not even the best.
Yeah, that kind
I use a liquid, organic, botanical, like oil-based toothpaste.
And I now use Nadine's.
There you go. The ones with Tom's is, it's got sodium lauryl sulfate in it, which you don't really want even in shampoo. So yeah, it's interesting. It's pretty abrasive toothpaste that if you really look at the label, it's like, yeah, it's even kind of like in between
stuff.
What's that?
If it says, if I get the Tom's, it's the fluoride free.
Yeah, it'll still have other issues. Like if you popped up a label right now, I would literally dissect it. And...
Wow. Okay.
Nadine,
you know what? I just want to say, yes, I make toothpaste and everything, but just forget all that. You can just stop using whatever you got at home right now and just pull out some baking soda. And if you used baking soda for the rest of your life, you would be better off.
And what about whitening the teeth?
Wow.
Well, whitening actually comes from within. So the enamel is actually transparent like a window. And it's the health of the pulp chamber underneath that's reflected. And so we want to be delivering a lot of nutrients to our teeth, like fat-soluble vitamins, and getting those minerals in there. And that will actually be reflected in whiteness. So if there's a real deficiency in food, like you'll see people that may have gray or glassy teeth, they're just like not getting nutrients up into the tooth. The tooth is like with its roots, it's like a tree. So it draws up and into itself the nutrients that then coalesce inside the pulp chamber. And those nutrients then turn into a dentinal lymph system. We actually have a lymph system in every tooth. And then that gets pushed out to the surface of the enamel through the odontoblasts. And this microscopic fluid, it's kind of like microscopic sweat. It coalesces with the saliva, and then it's supposed to protect the mouth and prevent cavities. Because cavities are prevented in a different way than we think. So when we draw the nutrients up into the tooth, that's the system we want. When we don't get enough nutrients, or there's a lot of stress or toxins or chemicals, that system actually begins to then, instead of drawing nutrients up, it becomes stagnant, or worse than stagnant, it starts to pull in like a straw from the mouth. So that system reverses. Then we're pulling in the viruses, bacteria into the tooth. So it's like, it's not just that thing of like, oh, we got too much sugar on our teeth. It's like a deep system that's connected to the endocrine, to the hypothalamus, to the blood system. So we got to just know the mouth's connected to the body.
Wowzer.
Can I go back?
Wow.
Sorry.
It's okay. The only thing I know about like teeth and hygiene care is from my pets. Because, I know seriously, because like if the pets get kidney disease, and I know this is all degenerative, but that's why it's really important why you have to do dental cleanings to your pets, because that bacteria builds up and does affect at some point the organs in the body. So of course it makes sense.
Yeah.
If you don't do like good dental hygiene, we're screwing shit up inside.
Yeah, we're like swallowing plaque and biofilms, and then that goes back to the microbiome of the mouth. And so, yeah, the ingredients that we're using and the dental procedures we're doing are like adding to the bacteria or mutating or kind of creating an environment where more bad bacteria can exist.
Wow.
And I've been using a wonderful product called Thieves mouthwash.
There's still some ingredients in there. It's neat because it has the essential oils, which as long as it's an authentic essential oil, we know that they've got I like to think of them as botanical biotics. So those essential oils can actually bust through biofilms, and they can get to things that antibiotics can't.
Well,
and what we now know,
he's fascinated. He could.
Good.
After 3 months, he said, "Wow, it's gone. You're fine. It's all good." But I'm having implants now. That's. I'm sure
now, so for implants, you've got to make sure you do not get titanium implants. You do not want that metal implanted in your head.
Okay.
So the only alternative to that right now is zirconium, and that is showing to not take a toll on the immune system.
Writing that down, baby.
Yeah. So if your dentist does not have that, then you must find another that does, because that is like, do not get that put in.
So one of the first things I did when I started to heal my Crohn's disease is I changed my toothpaste.
Yeah.
And I changed it to this toothpaste called Glacial Blue, which is all essential oils. But I want to go back to the microbiome for a second, because I think it's super important for people to understand that it's not just about like what the food that you put in your mouth, because if your dental is not working properly, if your oral system is not working properly and you don't have the right microbiome in your mouth, then you're not going to be able to break down the food properly, and it's not going to be able to digest properly in your system. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's part of the whole system. So of course there's the enzymes and the digestive acids and all that kind of stuff, and then there's the whole microbiome in the gut that's going to be working in coordination with your mouth. So yeah, it's a whole system. And a lot of what we need to do with our mouths is kind of like get out of the way, sort of stop, using the things that are harming it, and then kind of just let that microbiome reseed itself. And, think about eating foods that are prebiotic and probiotic and reseeding the body. I like to think of, our bodies are like this microbial bank account, and we need to keep it diverse and active, and just keep that, because it's really taking care of us and our body. And there's a microbiome on the skin. There's a whole microbiome system there. And also for women, the yoni, the vaginal microbiome, is a very important
area. Okay, now I'm moving into sex, everybody.
About time.
So what are the 3 sex products that you have? Because you probably have more, but I've got the Love Butter.
Yep.
And
we have 3 Love Butters, which kind of give you different flavors and different tingles. And then we've got
Love Butter is.
It's like an alternative lube. It's just all natural. We've got beautiful one with like jasmine and cacao butter. And it's really like, it's so beautiful when you can use which really are the sex glands of the plants and turn those into beautiful lubricants for our body. It kind of all makes sense. So we have like 3 Love Butters. We've got 3 yoni serums. One is like, to use daily. Then there's one that you can use also to prepare for birth. Or in later years, or just like it's really good to just put a little bit of serum on each day to protect the yoni. And then there's the one for after, the Petal Soother it's called, or you can use it if you've got a yeast infection, itchy. There's something called vulvodynia, which is like an itch that just doesn't go away, and it's helpful for all of that. The Petal Soother, super strong. And then we've got a beautiful Oh yeah, we've got the Venus Love Lube, and then we have got the Shiva Lingam Serum, which is our
What the heck is
beautiful.
that? I didn't get a sample of that one.
That's for the mans.
Oh, I would never need a sample of that one.
So for the
Shiva-
second one, does that address the dryness with menopause?
Yes, so that can be doing for that, and then there's other herbs that you can use, but yeah, you can put it all in that area, and and just daily, even if it's not for a lubricant for sex, it's just like putting it on daily will just help that area on a daily.
One of the most surprising, shocking things that a Kaiser doc ever said to me was, "You're dry down there. You need to use coconut oil every day, but make sure it's organic." And I was like, wow. Yeah, I was very impressed.
So I know we have the face regimen. So what's the yoni regimen?
Well, it's really just so simple. Just apply, just apply it to your yoni. And just because all day, we're not, creatures of the wild anymore. We're not squatting on sand and getting all that kind of, and it's good. We would brush against nature and we would get information and microbes that were beneficial. So now we're all in our polyester underwear. Not all of us, obviously, sweating, rebelling at the polyester and or shaving. And then we've got toilet paper with chemicals that little dab a couple times a day is just those little dust motes from those chemicals can come off and everything. So it's just giving your yoni just some love, some lube.
Oh.
Happy.
I told you like her, Cara. I never knew what a yoni was. But Cara and I belong to it's a group of women, and it's the goddess group. It's goddess camps, and we're sitting there, and and someone said yoni, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I had to explain it to me, but it was not hard because I'm not dumb. But it was just I never heard that word before. But it's but I love the names of your products. I just think it's amazing, but you have a men's product line. You got a kids product line too. I mean, you pretty much have sort of covered every single niche.
Yeah, it's kind of because through the years, I mean, the people that love libations, they're just, once you're in, you're kind of in. And if I don't cover every part of the body, our clients want us to. So even when I'm really, I don't think we need a cuticle oil because you could just use the face oil, but people are like, please, a cuticle oil. I mean, so we even have a cuticle oil,
So how do you come up with the names of the products? I mean, is there it must be only you, or do you have a team of people?
It's just me.
I love the names.
For the names. I mean, we've got an amazing team, but the names, I really, even as a kid, I liked naming things. And this is such a silly little story, but there was the show Square Pegs with Sarah Jessica Parker and Jamie Gertz. Yep. And Sarah Jessica Parker was like, so Valley Girl voice, if I could do one, but when I grow up, I want to name lipsticks red, very red, and very, very red. It was such a silly moment, but I was like, yeah, I'm doing that. I just knew it when I was a kid. So love naming.
Remember the nail polish hard candy when that came out and those crazy names like Trailer Trash or I don't know, that Gold Rush. They had such weird names.
Yeah, it was funny. I love naming our perfumes. We have ones called Being Free is Lots of Fun, Roses Shining Everywhere, Radiant Earth.
Oh.
It goes on and on.
So obviously, I mean, everything is plant. I mean, for you, it's oil. Everything is down to the earth, down to Mother Nature. Yeah. Just, taking what we have, not in our backyards, but you know what I mean, and sort of just utilizing that without chemicals. That a lot of people, what I'm finding, even for me now, I mean, especially during COVID, I've always been very conscious, but since COVID, I've lost 25 pounds. I'm, I would say vegetarian light, because I eat some fish. I'm reading labels more. I'm becoming much more aware and conscious of stuff that's shit in our products and across the board on anything from, like you said, shampoos and all the crap that's in shampoo. And so, I mean, how do you, all the stuff and all the plants and stuff that you experiment with, how do you know what's best for what in the combination of it?
Yeah, It's sort of hard to spell out because there's a deep knowledge, and it's so fast. Like, it's so, to create a product, it's like mostly happens in my mind, and the last 2% is that me in physical form blending those things. And I don't know, I can formulate it in my mind, and generally it comes out that way. So it's such a fast process, it's really hard. And there's colors that happen. I feel like I'm really even just blending color, but again, it's all mental. And then the knowledge of the plants comes from, like, obviously just learning, like reading and all that, but also just working with the plant.
So you're intuitive. In essence, you're intuitive. Cheryl, this is your category.
I could totally feel that when you were talking, Nadine. I was totally feeling that you're 99%, the spiritual inventor, right?
Yeah.
So 99% of it is manifested, not in form, right? And then it's only when you open your eyes and you bring it into physical form, that's when that 1% steps in and, puts the label on it or the bottle on it or actually makes it.
Yeah.
But I have a question for you, because I feel like with your company, I mean, you could really go so many different avenues, because there's so many things that we need. We need help with this stuff, right? We need help with living a better lifestyle, whether it's the cleansers in our home, whether it's, like you said, the makeup or the body lotion. I just feel like your company is still growing, right? I mean, you're still expanding and just still inventing products, right? You're still.
Oh yeah, like I could pull out 20 right now, but I actually have to really pause myself, because it would be too fast for the world.
Got it.
I'm like, oh, I can coast now for 6 months because I just made 5 products or whatever in that category. But it's amazing. Like, I love all the people that love what we make, but on another level, I mean, we're just like a drop in the ocean, and yet to be discovered. It's like, there's so much room there, but yeah, we really do go into so many realms. And, education, we really love to do that. Our customer care team is so great. We do free consults for dental or beauty, like whatever question you got, we will help or lead you on your way. And Renegade Beauty, which was my latest book, is really this beauty Bible. And there are, it's like over 400 pages. There's 500 citations and science papers mixed in with spirit. And there's chapters on breast health, like very serious, a whole chapter on vaginal health and birthing and skin and how to make perfumes. There's a whole chapter with recipes. And then there's like a whole A to Z of solutions, whether it's like acne, thyroid, weight gain. And I just wanted to put it all in the book, so that people could really dive in, so that we can learn. So I guess I was saying that because of what you're saying, like there's so many different categories to learn. And so I feel like Renegade Beauty really does set us off, and it's very holistic. So you really start to see like, oh yeah, it's like the whole thing. And it's 2020. There is enough choice that's without synthetics and without petroleum, because there's no cell in our body that's really craving to be plastered in petroleum.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
you have like a starter kit, like a kind of a starter kit for somebody who wants to try all the new products, but without the additives.
Yeah, we do. We have starter kits in different categories because, so we have the dental starter kit and the essential oil starter kit.
You have a Christmas box.
You don't have a Christmas box.
Hey, everybody, you're watching Between the Sheets. We're on the first and third Friday of every month. We have wonderful author, and she's amazing. I mean, she is like a hippie, but so smart in all this nature, and just freaking awesome. Nadine Artemis. Please call us if you have any questions, 323-524-2599. We're ready to hear your answers, your questions, any ideas, even some names of products I'm sure Nadine would be open to. But what's your thing? I mean, I'm looking at my notes because as Angela and I were talking, also, by the way, go to livinglibations.com, use the coupon code SHEETS, 30% off of her products. She's got a 15% sale. And because you're watching Between the Sheets, you get an extra 15% off. That is awesome. So please do that. But I'm looking at my notes just briefly as we're talking, and the word cosmos is written 3 times. Explain your interest in the cosmos.
Well, I like to think of it in terms of beauty as cosmoetics. So it's this like application of the elements to feel our beauty or to revive our beauty, rather than the application of, really, even if it's something I made, like that's not what beauty isn't, something that's applied to you. It's something we gotta, bring out, as hallmark and cheesy as that sounds, it is from the inside out. Now, to help us in that process, then we want to, as the primary beauty attendants in the universe, engage with the elements before we think of the mascara. So what are that's water, air, sun, and the earth. So water, you want to have pure water. You want to be drinking that. You don't want to be bathing in chlorine.
Hold on.
Yeah.
For drinking water and stuff,
yeah.
What is the best? Because we're all drinking a lot more water now because we now understand it's beneficial. So what kind of water should we be drinking?
Spring water is the very best. And there are websites like findaspring.com. You can see where is there a natural spring near you. And then you guys are in LA. You're fine. There's spring water delivery.
Yeah.
Right?
What like the kind you get that's bottled at Whole Foods, but it's called a Sencha.
Oh yeah. So if you're gonna just don't get it in plastic, because that's like the issue. We all know the issues with plastic, but when it comes to water and plastic, the bigger companies, they make the water bottle at the factory. So it's this hot plastic that then gets injected with water.
Even if there's a BPA less than whatever 7,
and BPA free. We all know, like, we're gonna find out in 5 years, like the BPS alternative is the same bullshit, right? So
how do you get water from a glass container then?
Yeah, so if you are buying spring water, like instead of getting it or getting delivered, then do glass for sure. And then for people, like if you can't do even a filter system, or when I'm traveling and I'm not about to shower, I travel with a shower filter, but if I don't have time to put it on or whatever, I just shower with some spring water, and I keep a bottle of spring water in the bathroom for brushing my teeth and washing my face. And I'll just pour that on the cloth and stuff. So kind of camping in the hotel room with my bottle of spring water.
Sure, because it is a lifestyle. I mean, what you're saying is a lifestyle. Do you have like makeup too? Like
we have some, like I hope to make the mascara in the next year or two and some eyeliner, and that's kind of about it. Because generally with foundation and stuff, we're really looking at, again, you can wear it, but we want to bring out your best skin. So that, and we get so many emails every day of like, oh my God, I don't feel like I have to wear makeup now to leave the house. So it's kind of liberating. But what we do is we do have a beautiful palette of shimmers and like tints that you can wear as lips or cheeks or eye stuff or highlighters. So we've got some shimmery ones, and then there's a beautiful root that I use that makes the most beautiful red, this root. And so we have this blush that I call it's the blush that blushes you, because we also use like cinnamon and cayenne in it. So it brings the blood to your cheeks as well. So you just get that rosy glow.
Are you wearing it now?
I am, yeah. I did get a bit of sun today too, so I don't know what you're seeing, but it's all in there, yeah.
But I've been getting a lot of sun lately because I've been going out.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't have, I mean, besides the mascara and lipstick, I don't really have anything else on my face right now.
Yeah.
And I'm old.
You don't need it.
Pretty good.
I'm loving, I do have a whole chapter on sun and skin. It's like, because it is good to get sun exposure on your skin. Obviously not getting burnt and stuff. So I take a whole chapter to really go into that, because we really need to deprogram a bit from the last 50 years. But it is funny. I've been really appreciating from quarantine. Everybody's way more tanned. And I think it's so great because there are studies that show, specifically for COVID, that keeping your vitamin D levels sufficient will help prevent it. Or if you do get it, that the symptoms are a lot better. So I'm seeing I just feel like everybody, like even like the Jimmy Fallons and Stephen Colbert's of the world, they are rocking their tans. It's so good. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad you had time off, or not time off, but time that wasn't spent commuting, and so they could enjoy the sun a bit.
So tell us, I mean, we have COVID, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, I've got 2 questions. So we'll go to COVID for a minute, but going back to the book Renegade Beauty, which is like a Bible, I just find it really cool. Like, because most people want to sort of not give the recipes. It's like, they want to keep it proprietary, but it's really cool because everything's organic. Like there's no chemicals. So truly, people can make their own stuff. And
it's simple. Yeah, because there isn't that much complexity. And if you're using the right ingredients, it can be super fun and super quick. And my recipes were simple. You don't even have to pull out a blender.
Or a vibrator at this point. Well, maybe if you do the yoni, you get the vibrator. And then when you got the lube, you got to try that stuff. But about COVID, like, there's a lot, obviously, there's not a lot of answers about it. There's someone who, like, I had a scare a week ago. There was someone that I was in contact with that got tested for COVID. Now they were positive. And the interesting part is, we always do this. I mean, safe distance, that's distancing, the washing of the hands, the mask. But, for the first time, I have to say, when I got that call that she tested positive, for 2 seconds, I was scared shitless. Because I live with my mom. And she's 88 and she's on dialysis and she's got COPD. I take care of her. I totally freaked out. So right from my nail appointment, I literally went and found a place that does, COVID testing, no appointment. 4 hours later, I was still a little freaked out, but not like panicked, but now I had the mask on in the house and stuff. And 24 hours later, obviously, not obviously, but I didn't feel like intuitively, I didn't think I had it. I know because I'm intuitive too. And it's like, if I get a feeling, but I knew I didn't have it. I was very confident. And I did the swabby thing in the nose and I did the blood test and I never had it and I don't have it. So it was negative. And everybody else in the whole like little group was negative as well. That's okay. Good. I said to my friend, you got to go back and get another COVID test because I don't believe this. And it was negative.
Oh, for goodness sake.
So now she's going to wait a few more days and do it again because now you need 2 negatives.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, these tests are not accurate.
No.
And the other thing
is, most
if
testing,
you're, there's no way to tell if you're positive, negative, if you have 21 days that you could get this thing. So it's like, when do you test yourself? How do you know? It's so up in the air, and that's why it's just so important to wear a mask.
But the thing is, it's all conflicting. It's 14 days, 21 days. Do it in the middle.
That's the problem. That's the scary part.
There is no real information about this thing. So, Nadine, knowing nature, knowing plants, like what are your top recommendations to keep this all sort of the immune system up and stuff like that? What should we be doing?
Yeah. And this is the way I've been thinking for a long time, even pre-COVID, because I feel like there's always something out there, right? So number one, we've talked about, which is sun. Literally, we have thousands of vitamin D receptors all over our body, and we need more than the vitamin D supplement because that's a fat soluble vitamin. When we interact with the sun on our skin, it's a water-based soluble vitamin D. It creates a cholesterol sulfate that's good for the immune system. When we lie out in the sun, we create antimicrobial peptides, which create cathelicidins, which creates one specifically called LL37, which specifically shows to be preventative or helpful against reverse RNA viruses. So that's like, when you have enough sun, you're also able to deal with things like Epstein-Barr. It goes on and on. There's over 3,000 studies that show, that having sufficient vitamin D reduces our chance of various cancers, various diseases. If we're sufficient in vitamin D, our risk of breast cancer goes in half. So it's very, very important to have that interaction with the sun. Then another top, are minerals important? One that's really important is iodine, which is also antiviral, antibacterial. It's essential mineral that we're supposed to have in our bodies, but generally 70% of the world is deficient. That's what makes, also it's good for the thyroid. It's good for breast health. It prevents fibrocystic breasts. It prevents the swelling of the body. It prevents dampness in the belly. It helps to balance the 3 estrogens and make the best estrogen sort of top place. It helps to chelate heavy metals out of the body. So like aluminum and mercury.
Can you take that as a supplement? Like that?
Yeah, it is a supplement. You just take, it's like a couple drops, or there's a capsule form.
Okay.
And you can just get like a Lugol's or a nascent iodine, like Amazon.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of women, I mean, in my age group, and I'm 56, develop thyroid disease.
Yeah. It's rampant right now.
I have Hashimoto's, so I'm on Synthroid.
Right. Yeah. So that there is debate. So Hashimoto's people, there's a huge chain of thought that's like, don't do iodine. Then there's people that do. So that's a real independent journey there. You'll have to sort of see. Some people theorize that it's so lacking iodine that that's really the time that you do need it if there is Hashimoto's. But I also think because it's so prevalent right now. I mean, for all women of really from 20s to the 70s, the thyroid, it's also because it's sort of a canary in the coal mine for us. It's got these receptors in it. And if we're not filling them with the right things, the other ones come in. So if we don't have sufficient iodine, then other elements from the halide group, bromide, chloride, fluoride, will come into the space where the iodine's supposed to be. It's kind of like having a parking lot and the iodine's supposed to be in those spots. But if the iodine cars aren't there, then these other ones are going to come in. And radiation is such a huge issue for the thyroid. And we've got radiation coming all over the place, including, just medical checkups, let alone, the environment. So yeah, the thyroid thing's huge. It could also be out of whack because of other underlying things like Epstein-Barr or Lyme or the adrenals. It's also thought of, it's rare, but it's good to know. I think this is helpful for women to know. It's sort of thought of as the third ovary.
Oh.
Yeah. So you can see there's like, if women have PCOS or something, which is a ovarian. I haven't got it right now, but anyway, and there's a real connection. It's usually a thyroid thing. So yeah, you could, or fibroids, or there's a real connection.
Me
with
too.
that.
I have that too.
So yeah, we can just think of that little kind of like an access point there.
So we Hashimoto girls then, should we be taking iodine, or are you not? You're not sure?
That's a hard one. I feel like if I had it, I would explore iodine, but you really want to read both sides and figure out. Also, thyroid diagnosis is off. You may not, like you got to really, the testing is and you got to kind of do this realm, but most doctors do that. So you may even really want to look into thyroid testing, like, and the whole, there's a lot of, I wouldn't say controversy, but there's a lot really where it's like the mainstream definitely has it off. There's about, 12 tests you should take, not these 6, because you have to look at the antibodies and stuff. So there's a lot. If you have been diagnosed with a thyroid thing, I would look into that. In my book, you can email us and I can give you sort of a book list to read. Okay. And then again, with the thyroid, the mouth, we've got to know what's going on there.
Wow. It sounds expensive.
Yeah. It can.
Have you heard that? I know you'd mentioned baking soda earlier, and I know baking soda alkalines the body. I have a friend who's a nurse who told me that he had read something about if you take a quarter teaspoon of baking soda in the morning, it could help with the COVID, neutralizing it somehow.
I don't know about that, but it's definitely great. We actually produce bicarbonate in our bodies. And of course, as we age, it gets less and less and less. So it's really good for the kidneys. It's good for alkalinizing. It's great for swishing around in your mouth and alkalizing that saliva. So when you do take it in the morning on an empty stomach, it is good. It is beneficial for sure.
Wow. All right. So I'm going to bring up a controversial topic.
Okay.
What's your feeling about Botox?
Oh, well, Earth Mama's not into it, right? I mean, again, if you got to do it, you got to do it. And there's so much pressure on women, especially in the performing arts or just whatever, even homemakers. So I don't judge it at all, but it's definitely something that it's just not working, because I just would be afraid of the toxicity,
It seems like it goes polar opposite of everything that you've just been talking about.
Yeah, so I'm not in, but I'm not judging.
No, I get it. And I get it right here. I mean, I get it. So, I mean, because I hate these freaking lines, and I just don't know what to do about them, and it bothers me. It just totally bothers me. But that's just my thing. So diet, how important is diet?
So important. And also, I've really I've done many different things over the years. I've always been organic and non-processed since I was 18, but there's like a realm of about 10 variations of diets, but really other than that, it's like we've got to eat whole foods. If we're eating meat, it has to be like, you got to know it's got to be grass-fed. We can't eat anything factory farm. That's horrific. And then there's definitely a few foods that I don't think anybody should be eating, which is like modern wheat, soy, if you gluten, most people thrive without it. Yeah. And I really feel like people got to find out for them, like what's working. Eggs could work for somebody. And again, we're talking like free range egg working for somebody, not working for somebody. Cashews can be a real aggravator, but they seem so beautiful and make so many great desserts out of them. But you really have to figure that out. Is it like yams for you or potatoes? And that's important, that we get stronger, like in discerning what we need rather than what we think, we're following whatever advice. You really got to tune into our bodies to get that right.
So how do you discipline? I mean, how, let's say us, I mean, I think probably Delisha more than anybody on here, and I don't even know about our viewers, but I mean, we all try and do the best we can, and we stumble and fall. But like, how do you start? Like, how do you learn to discipline yourself?
I don't. I'm an Aquarius. I have no discipline.
I'm an Aquarius too. I have none.
Yeah. I also any of you taken
the cop out?
Have you taken the 4 tendencies study? Anybody here?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's oh my gosh, what's her name? She wrote Happiness at Home. Gretchen Rubin,
Possibly.
maybe. So she wrote a book called The 4 Tendencies. You could it's a quick test online. It's upholders. Can't remember. Questioners. There's a disciplinarian one, but I don't think that's the name of it. Obligators, upholders, questioners, and rebels. I am a rebel. So that means, in her terms, I don't take direction from inside myself or outside myself. So, so for me, and I've understood this from an early age, is I need to be inspired to do something. And I'm not motivated, I'm inspired. So it's that real inner conversation that brings me and directs me to where I want to go. And so for me, and like food, because again, there's no discipline in what I'm eating. I love what I'm eating and whatever I'm deciding in that moment. Because if I feel the truth of something, for me, like I don't want to eat gluten because it just, I didn't think I had a gluten issue. Then I stopped. I'm like, oh my God, such micro little inflammations went away because I really thought I was fine. I'm like, oh, I'm thriving without it. So once that moment hits and I feel the benefit, I don't need discipline, and for me, eating's the whole thing. It's the visual, the smelling, the taste. And how do I feel 2 hours after I eat? How do I feel the next day? And to me, if I don't feel good, I don't need discipline to not eat that.
Exactly.
I wish I was like that.
Well, I do think there's a chemical thing. So let's say, if you have been eating more sugar or something, you may feel the truth that you'd be better off without it, but there is also a chemical reaction that could take 3 days to change.
Wow. Speaking of sugar, how do you feel about coconut sugar and stevia and agave and some of the alternative sugars?
Yeah, I really don't, I don't even eat that much fruit. Sometimes, I eat blueberries now and stuff, but I'm not high in sugar on any level. And really, once you get rid of that, you're so free because you're not being like led by an invisible sugar leash. It's pretty, like even on a subtle level, like even other years, to most people, I was not eating a lot of sugar. But even when I just reduced sort of the sugar family and like a little bit less carbs, holy balance. It's really quite phenomenal. So I feel like they're all good, but you also want to be able to have life and also enjoy bitter and sour. So stevia is good. Monk fruit is good if you got to get 100% pure. Agave seems to just really be a corn syrup racket. Coconut sugar, again, that's good. It's clean for sure. I did a kid's birthday cake, but it's not a daily solution to sweetness.
That's a good alternative to
Totally. Like, and, make a cake with it and have this for, fun moments like that.
It's a good alternative to refined white sugar for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I thought that eating fruit is okay because it's
natural. Oh, it is. Like, don't, I mean, I can get hardcore. No, it is. But then sometimes it can be very sweet, like a mango versus a blueberry, for example. And then if you really get into it's really good to take a moment and it's kind of called an elimination diet. And you can just go, hey, 3 days without gluten. Is this working? 3 days without dairy, and just sort of see what you need. And there is lectins. So there's some fruits that also have a lot more sugar, and then lectins. And that's a whole other thing. It's kind of like the king category to a gluten.
Mm-hmm. And someone just went on the site and said, what about pure honey?
I use honey if I need to, but again, I'm pretty low on, but we use honey in our chocolate, for example. So I love the honey. I love the work of the bees. I use it on my skin. I love honey.
I'm guessing you do. So besides the whole, how to take care of the inside, how to take care of the outside, Zen, you meditate, right?
Yeah.
And so, how do you meditate? Because we've had questions and talks about what is meditation, how people meditate. It doesn't have to necessarily be like the same thing for everyone. So how do you meditate, Nadine?
Well, I've done all different kinds, and I actually even came across TM meditation at 18 when I was doing all that organic stuff. But that's again, it's somebody else's system. There's so many ways to meditate, but here's the thing is you don't even really you don't have to try too much, but get into your breathing, tune into some sound or something that you can, like a fan or an air conditioner or like a meditation music or whatever. And then the point, I guess that sometimes that people struggle with the point, or they think they've sat there and it's maybe this unproductive 15 minutes. I feel like the point is to be awake and not and receiving, because often in our day we're just this babbling brook of thoughts, and then we have an idea, and then we might have a counter idea, like I want to do that, but can I do that, and the whole thing. You need to stop, have moments in the day where you stop that. Even if your meditation, there's only 1 minute in there where you could just be in that awareness that's different than the babbling brook, then that's a really good minute. That minute will bring to you stuff later in the day, later in the week. So it is important to do that. In the beginning of COVID, when things were a little more intense, I was just especially running a business and people, and there's a lot to take care of. And I just went into meditating about 6 times a day. So I would kind of do some action and then pause. And it wasn't always a full meditation. So I've kind of got this new one now where it's just sort of like a feel-good snack. So I'll just close my eyes and think of things that I can feel good about and sort of get that inner feeling going, feeling
you
good.
Use lube or what?
Yeah, loose lube, put on the oils, frankincense,
I actually walk and
don't need juice with bergamot, please, so it tastes like Earl Grey tea.
That's what actually flavors Earl Grey tea. So you could add a drop of bergamot to honey and put it in your tea.
Nice.
How about in your yoni? What about that?
Yes, you can, but you want to dilute it first.
Okay. So where
dilute your yoni first?
And you could have Earl Grey yoni.
Oh my God, that's the best thing ever. Any girl that comes that's with me and she's got her yoni is Earl Grey, I'm so in, because there's no sugar, there's no milk, sugar. It's just straight out of the box. So
you could put a drop, on your pubic area.
Oh, I hate that word.
I know. I couldn't think of the yoni version for the hair. What's that word?
The Mount of Venus.
There you go.
Yes, baby.
Yes.
Mara, are you okay with this conversation?
I am so okay with it. I mean, I'm used to us being all over the place on the show, so.
I know. Well, you know what? I think our shows usually go when we're in the studio, it's ping pong. And I am a true believer in energy and stuff, because we feed off of each other. And, so being on Zoom, the show takes a little bit, it's still a good show, but it takes a little bit difference. It's different because we're not bouncing off of each other, and we're actually not really interrupting each other that much.
Yeah.
Talking.
I'm sorry.
Like, should we talk now? Should we talk? It's supposed to be we're all over each other. So okay, Rumi.
Yeah.
My favorite. I don't know. I'm sure everybody likes Rumi.
Yes. Make room for Rumi.
What's your favorite quote?
Oh my God. Where do you start? One that just coming to right now is like, out there beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there's a field, I'll meet you there.
What do you think about Ram Dass?
I you know what, I haven't dived into his work too much. I think he seems pretty good. I read the book about the acids stuff going on at Harvard. What was that? The Harvard Psychedelic Club or the Yale Psychedelic? Yeah, that was fun. I read that.
So yeah, I mean, my favorite one of him is "We're all walking each other home."
That's nice.
I love that.
Oh, here's a Rumi one. Whoever brought you here will have to take you home.
I love that.
Wow,
love that.
And you like Krishnamurti too, right?
Ron and I, my partner, we like to pretend he's our grandfather. I took a year off. So there was a year I retired. I had this store that I opened right after university. And then I ran that for 7 years. And then I was like, I just need like a year to see. So I really took it off and I really read a lot of Krishnamurti that year. I saved up and I bought the whole Krishnamurti work CD from England. It was like 400 pounds. Now it's all free online. But I just, he's like, when I would read his work, I just was like, oh, because, you'll read and you'll take like 90% of what somebody's saying. And just, he was like 100%. And he just goes into thought and like the thoughts before the thoughts. And yeah, he's good.
No, he's great. Now, I mean, there are other people like, have you heard of Dr. Joseph Dispenza or Joe Dispenza?
Oh yeah.
I have, and I haven't heard too much, but I liked what I heard. I think I heard about 20 minutes. He reminded me a lot of the work of Abraham Hicks.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, but like really mathematical about it. It's like he's giving you the math equations. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I used to take Krishnamurti and sort of put what he was putting into sort of like an algebraic equation. So I feel like Joe's really got that. And I feel like that's going to really work for so many brains.
I agree.
Get that message.
I agree. I mean, I think I mean, don't you feel, and I don't know if it's just evolution or whatever, or what's happening with the world, but like so many people now are really delving into like you do, it's like spirituality, like intertwines with healthy living, with intertwines in nature. It's sort of like the basics of what we've always had, sort of to heal ourselves, and healing ourselves comes within. Mm-hmm. I mean, this COVID thing, I mean, even though Cara says it's all a bunch of hogwash, or she has better words for it with an English accent.
Not quite, but
but close enough.
I have my opinions.
Her opinions, yes, we love Cara. But the thing is it is like sort of a rebirth, a rebirth even of the earth and nature, of it regenerating, of animals that, not that are extinct, but animals, that are just living in their own habitat, and there's no like smog and all that crap. I mean, that's why I just love what your philosophy is and what you do, because it's sort of stuff that's been here for us. It's not like this secret recipe. It's not something hidden. It doesn't have to be patented. It just exists. Now, where do you get your essential oils from? Where do you get all your pure products from to sort of mesh together for your line?
Yeah, and that's such an important part, because it's the palette that makes everything. And it's the same places that when I was that 18-year-old writing to different countries, finding those distillers, most of those people that I started working with in my 20s, I'm still working with. So we really, we need the whole planet. I think there's about 40 countries that we order over 300 raw materials from. And it's a very, it's such an important part of like our relationships to the growers and the distillers, and the quality of work that they're making, and how we can support that or develop new raw materials. It's such a special part.
Wow. Anyone else have any questions? I feel like I'm like so like monopolizing Nadine's time.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I was talking to Delisha for a while before the show, and I was telling her that the doctor told me I have asthma because I've been, coughing nonstop, and I get this cough like once every other year that just won't go away. And he put me on, I'm on all these steroids right now that are making me sick. And I'm going to stop them right away, like 3 different inhalers, another mixer, like all that stuff. And I was talking to my sister, and she's like, why don't you maybe try to heal yourself from within, because it could be psychosymptomatic. And I'm giving that a chance. I'm giving that a try, but I'm wondering, is there anything that you recommend for people that either have bad allergies or like coughs or something,
Yeah, there's a really good, again, not a doctor. We're not going to replace your medicine, but we have these things called salt pipes. So it's this pipe and there's salt in it, and you inhale. So you can either put it in your mouth and then you're putting your mouth and then you're inhaling and then exhaling through the nose, or you can even do one nostril breathing, which is really cool. And then you put essential oils in there with the salt. The salt in its own is very helpful in healing to the lungs. You add the essential oils in, and now, because all essential oils, even though there's these fun aromatherapy things, if they're real essential oils, they are all to varying degrees antiviral, antifungal, and antibacterial. So there are essential oils that show to take care of like 98% of all bacteria in a petri dish, or tea tree seems to be effective against H1N1. They are beautiful and delightful and hardcore medicine by the drop, rich in monoterpenes, which are so good for our immune system. So that's the other thing. It's not only pure and natural, but by using it as your beauty care, you're boosting your immune system. You're not only not adding the toxicity and the toll to the liver, you're benefiting your body. So it's not just, neutral. It's like taking you in the right direction. That body oil could also be helping your lungs and all that. So we have a blend even called Longevity, and you use that in salt pipe. And people, again, this is just anecdotal, but they're able to get rid of their inhalers. And it sounds like they have more hardcore asthma than yourself. So you can do that. There's also nebulizers you can do for inhaling. You can
I'm on one right now, but I hate the medicine in there. It's making me totally.
Yeah. And then again, putting a lot of essential oils on your chest, like frankincense. And then unrelated to my work, but a wonderful tool of functional medicine that's come into this part of it has come more stronger in the past few years. And it's using peptides, which are short chain amino acids. So for basically anybody to start out, if you find yourself some thymosin alpha 1, that really seems to turn around like deep chronic autoimmune issues, allergies. I'm so glad I knew about peptides and thymosin alpha 1 before COVID.
Where do you get these?
Well, you can find a functional there's an International Peptide Society, peptidesociety.org. There's Can Labs, which sends to the States. You can Google too, not Google, YouTube, thymosin alpha 1, see a couple of doctors talk about it. It's really exciting. And you give yourself an injection. That's how you have to take it, a subcutaneous injection. But it doesn't hurt at all. It's smaller, like an insulin needle. And I've never used any, and I've done it all for a few decades. And nothing is so amazing to work with peptides, but especially thymosin alpha 1 for autoimmune things.
What I really feel about this is sort of like, usually people don't take care of their bodies and then they get a disease or an illness. So you're playing catch up. What this whole lifestyle is to prevent even the disease from happening.
Right. Exactly. And for some reason, that's just, actually I had a beautiful reading once with Ayurvedic astrologer. And she was just, again, she didn't know me, and she was just tuning in, and she's like, I just want to know if I've got it right. The first thing that remember, your dharma is to heal beauty through disease, right? And I was like, wow, that's well said. Yeah. And so I just feel that, like, even through the beautiful stuff we make and gumdrops and rose oils and all that, but really underneath it all, it's potent medicine for us to really take care of ourselves.
Do you make any products for teeth pulling?
Yes, for oil pulling.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got swishing serums, and they're with like vitamin D and CoQ10 and oregano. Yep, 2 swishing serums.
Make any without oregano?
Yep, there's the mint and myrrh swishing serum.
I don't understand what teeth pulling means.
I think she meant oil pulling. Which is when and I have an article on the website, and there's information in the book, but it's an Ayurvedic practice for taking care of the oral environment. You just take a teaspoon of coconut oil or sesame oil or olive oil, and you can add things to it like probiotics or a drop of peppermint, and then you swish it in your mouth for 15-20 minutes every day. I mean, obviously you spit it out, get fresh stuff, and after a month you really will see a difference in your gums, the whiteness of your teeth. It draws toxins out. It's a really good thing to do. It's a great quarantine activity.
Yes, it is. Cheryl, you had something to say?
I do. Thanks, Nadine. So just, the current environment with everyone being nervous or anxious, is there 1 or 2 products that you could recommend, that people could buy on your site? You mentioned the salt pipe, which sounded kind of relaxing.
It is. And it's a great thing for, take that whole range: meditation, allergies, asthma, calming, because it's a great way to really also connect with the oils. So for anxiety or something, you could just, bergamot has studied to show it's good for anxiety. So you could just take a whiff out of the bottle. But when you've got that salt inhaler, so you would put a drop inside the salt inhaler, that you really you feel like you're really engaging with the oil on a different level. And you can get more into a meditative breathing thing. And then we have roll-ons, like a Bliss roll-on. It's like really good for that as well. There's a lot of options.
Yeah, thanks. Those are great products. Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the inhalation of oils? Because I've had a massage therapist who have screamed at me for, wanting to ingest oils. So
yeah, well,
talk about the safety of that.
Yeah. So again, we have to be working with pure, authentic essential oils, and there are many that are not, because that's the kind of world we live in, right? Where there's the fakes and the nature identicals, and there can be so knowing if you've got a real oil, the supplier, the Latin name, it's organic. Then there are a set of oils that are GRAS, meaning generally recognized as safe to use in culinary application. And essential oils, they've been made for all these years, with like 60, 70 years, not because of aromatherapy, but because they're produced for the food and flavor industry. Aromatherapy hasn't been big enough for the oil production. So it's in your liqueurs, the menthols in your cigarettes, there's, in your orange juice, that's really how they're being used. Or they're taking the real raw material and then fractionating it, folding it, and then sending it off to the perfume world. So they are safe. And then the ones that you're going to, but again, what people need to know too, is it's like by the drop. So we're very used to in this culture, like big and Slurpees and gulpies, but the essential oils is the drop, and a drop's going to go far. And then generally you need to put it in something to take it. So there's a few oils you could put a drop in your water, like peppermint or frankincense or lemon, but they're essential oils. So they're not really mixing with that water. So then you want to use a fat or honey to take it into the body. So you could put a drop of bergamot in honey or olive oil, and then take it for your medicine. Because there are times when you want to get it deeper in the body to help with the throat or the stomach. But also we're a culture that feels like we have to eat everything to get it into our bodies, put it down this channel. But transdermally, essential oils are doing wonders, and then they don't have to pass through the digestive system, and they slip into the skin and do their work. And then through inhalation, even if you can't smell, that essential oil molecule is going to go up into your, your olfactory system, into the hypothalamus. It's going to activate things. It's going to have a physiological effect on the body, and it's going to travel through the body. These little molecules do their work, and then they leave the body. So there's not a toxic buildup either.
I have a question. Colloidal silver.
Mm-hmm.
There has been controversy about that, and what is it? And what is it?
Well, it's like made from silver, and just like copper has antibacterial properties, so does silver. So it is seen, and it does seem to be effective, depending on who you talk to, as a antibacterial kind of liquid for the immune system. So you could like swish with it, or, you know, they've got nose sprays. It's good to protect the nasal microbiome when we're flying and that kind of stuff too. But I'll usually just take our balm. We have an Immunolim balm, put a little up there, put a little in the ears before I fly. Put a mask. We've been making masks at Living Libations for 4 years because when I travel, I mean, I don't want to inhale. Like when I go, because I live in this bubble. We live on 200 acres. It's forested. It's spring waters. It's like pristine.
I'm moving there.
Yeah. When I go into the Matrix, I'm like, you know, I want to, you know, I love to wear gloves if I'm going to the airport, but I definitely wear my mask. And the thing, even at the beginning of COVID, was like, wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Well, it's not the special one, you know, because the viruses can get through, and sure, all of that. But the whole reason why we made masks is so that you can be in your own bubble, and it's really an excuse to put the oils on. So there's this, so we use vintage bed sheets. Then we have organic fabric in the inside. And then you put your oils on, and then you're just in your own bubble, and then you're inhaling those essential oils, antimicrobial, antifungal, antibacterial. So you're inhaling that. You're also having fun because you can add some flowers. So it's like neroli and frankincense. You're in the plane. Like, I'm good.
Now you're talking my language, because I only sleep in vintage or thrift store bed sheets.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed.
I made this out of a blanket. I make all my coats out of blankets so that when I'm on the plane, I just feel like I'm cozy.
Oh, delicious. I've got to say, Nadine, you have the most beautiful, expressive hands.
Oh, thank you.
It looks like your hands look like they should make beautiful things.
Oh.
They do make good things.
Cara, I have a question for you, Cara. So you'll wear a mask for essential oils and to smell good, but you won't wear a mask to protect other people around you and yourself?
Oh, that's such a twisted way of putting it, sweetheart.
I'm just
Don't start
question.
me. Of course, you will wear a mask around other people. Yes, because they expect it, and it's the law right now. But I don't like wearing a mask. I don't like to be shut up. I don't like to be told what to do, and I stay home.
Me too, sister.
Thank you.
Yeah, my life is. I'm like, when, you know, the memes that went around, there was like, quarantine life is like my normal life. That's how, you know,
Exactly.
I would literally, other years I'd be like, once we got home from traveling in the winter, I'd be like, okay, can I not leave my land for 6 months? And then that would be like a little goal for me. And I don't, because our headquarters is a 15-minute walk through the woods.
Oh,
so
wow.
I don't.
You get bored.
It sounds awful. You poor darling.
I don't. I've got a lake and woods.
Well,
and I've got
people. Like, I mean,
I got a building over there of 30 people.
Okay, that's true.
And you know, I do a lot of like this, being on a Zoom call and stuff. I feel like I've been doing for years, doing podcasts and stuff. And our business is so international that I'm communicating with people all over the world sort of every day.
Did you make your jacket?
Well, yeah, it's a vintage blanket, and that I made into a jacket. I have like a
Can
series.
you get closer to the camera?
Yeah.
I'd really like to see it.
Here it is.
Ooh, and I love your little sleeve that's there.
That's a little sweater underneath,
nice one.
cashmere sweater.
Talented.
Thank you.
Nice.
Very nice.
You are such an Aquarius.
I don't sew. I have a seamstress. But we, you know, for 21 years, she's been sewing my visions. But I'll usually just get vintage things, all secondhand. This is a secondhand cashmere sweater that we reworked, and this is a blanket that we reworked. So yeah, it's usually.
I think you have a clothing line next, right?
I know. I have that in my head. I'm just like, time
with oils. You know what I mean? We just walk around and it just absorbed into our bodies, and we just are 24/7 nature bound. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We're believe it or not, we're almost at the end of the show. But okay, magic mushrooms. Now, they're organic and stuff. And do they have any medicinal purposes?
I think, you know, I'm not exploring the current. I'm like a mother and with a family now and stuff. So I'm not into the current studies on the microdosing of the psilocybin, but you know, the mushroom world is fascinating. The mycelium network, you know, with all the fungus, it's so important to the planet. It's it's the microbiome of our planet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I've taken mushrooms.
I've never done them. I've never done them, so I don't know.
Gaye Ann, I've taken mushrooms both recreationally and as medicine, and let me tell you, it was a very, very, very different experience.
We call it
I went
recreational
into it as a
and recreational.
medicine, plant medicine versus just a drug.
Advocating it.
Very different experience.
Just a mushroom curious. Everyone, we have come, believe it or not, it's an hour and a half. We've come to the end of our show. I want to thank you, Nadine Artemis, livinglibations.com. I mean, this was a wealth. I mean, seriously, I know I don't know everything. I know a little about something. And there was a friend of mine a year ago that had set me on a path, sort of, she came into my life to be part of this journey to sort of expand all this information because it was her lifestyle and stuff. So, and then just to hear it, that you've integrated it for so many years. And now we have no choice. Well, we should have a choice, but we really should have a choice to do this and live clean, put everything in our body that's organic and natural and clean. I just commend you for being one of the pioneers in doing such. I just wish you were American and not Canadian, because it's always the damn Canadians.
We're close. We have a store in Venice. We're close to you.
So livinglibations.com. Go on my website, go on the Facebook page. They have a 15% off sale. And if you mention the Cuban code, the coupon code SHEETS, you will get another 15 additional % off. So that's 30%. I've been using her sample products, and now I'm obviously going to go online and buy more of the right proper size. But I just want to say thank you for doing what you're doing. You truly embody, sort of, in a way, natural, organic perfection of human. I truly believe this. You are sort of like I want to be you. I mean, in a way of, and it's discipline. I'm a Capricorn. We are.
You got it.
And yet I have a problem with discipline. So, I mean, I was like, but it's like, doing a face care routine or whatever. I'll be fine for 3 days and go, oh, this shit's too much. I'm not
even into the routines. We got one bottle, take care of your face for the washing and the cleansing, everything, the best skin ever. You don't need routines. We can make it simple.
Oh, nice.
Nice. So there, livinglibations.com. Nadine, thank you so much. Your books are Renegade Beauty.
Yep. Renegade Beauty and Holistic Dental Care.
And where can they find these besides your website?
Yeah, and like Amazon and all those places that books are.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Guys, I just want to say thank you again for another amazing, informative show. Cara, I love you and I adore you. Where can people find you?
MaraShaneArt.com and Mara Shane Art on Instagram.
Mara's our resident artist as well. She's another Aquarius and very talented.
Yeah, I'm the 2nd of February. Are you close to me?
I am. I'm on the 29th.
Of January.
Yeah.
Nice.
I share it with Oprah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, of course you do. I wouldn't think otherwise. Delisha, thank you for joining us. We've missed you. I know you've been unavailable and things have been weird. We're only on twice a month, which still sucks. But because I still would want to do it every week. Sponsors, come and call me. So what have you been up to? Where can they find you? What are you doing, babe?
Well, thank you for having me. You can find me at www.whatthehealth.net.
Nice.
And Cheryl Murphy.
Yeah.
Yes. You're everywhere, and I'm so.
Thank you.
I've gone to you for readings, and you're also a friend as well. I am just so proud from where I've known you a year ago to where you are now. I mean, it's like you blossomed in COVID.
Guys, thank you. Well, it's definitely given me a opportunity to connect with more people internationally and more people who are opening up. So many empathic people opening up right now. So everyone is just super emotional and sensitive, and there are great things ahead of us, believe me, as we've seen tonight with Nadine. So thank you so much. And if you guys are interested, you can reach me through my website, mediumcheryl.com.
And Trump is going to be out, right? Please, people, vote fucking blue. Seriously, Vote blue. And vote. Don't just sit at your ass and don't do shit and complain. Vote blue. And then we go to Cara.
Well, you know what I've got to do? I have to finish this Taj Mahal. I got 2 weeks before the wedding. I'm going to go online tonight, though, Nadine, and order some wonderful products, and then I'm going to make myself a grilled cheese sandwich. How does
That's perfect.
Nadine, you're also on Living Libations is on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook as well, besides the regular website.
Yeah, and the Instagram is where I am a little bit more, and you can see our beautiful land and the lake.
I'm so excitedly jealous and envious, but in a positive, wonderful way. And we're coming up to visit you. We'll just borrow her yurt and bring it the hell up to fucking.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We're on the first and third Friday of every month here on the United Broadcasting Network. Please like our Facebook page, Between the Sheets Podcast. Also, I'm on Twitter, but don't bother. I hate Twitter. Instagram is QTE Brett. Thank you for, again, my 7-word mantra. I do it on my live Facebook chats. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for supporting us. Please support Nadine. It's a woman-owned business. It's organic. It's the way we should be living. Mind, body, soul, spirit. It's integrative, and it's being put back to center, being one in the nature and earth. So, I think we all need to get back to basics. And if Nadine can jumpstart you with some of her products, and then you can buy her Bible, and God luck making the shit yourself. But I just want to say thank you. And as always, ladies, I love you all. I appreciate all of you. Nadine, I'm proud to now call you a friend and a mentor. So thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone, signing off. And you know how I like to sign off, everybody. Namaste.
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 Bye.
Home.
Thank you.
Later, bitches.